distinguished guests, council members, administration officials, and also our home viewing audience. I'd like to welcome you to our city's State of the City address from our mayor, Mr. Feeney. I would like to announce and acknowledge some special guests that we had this evening from the Chillicothe High School. We have with us this evening Kelton Creech, who is the CHS president. We have Georgia Hilliard, who is the class of 2017 president. We have Carly McCoy, who is an executive aide. And we have Autumn Murphy, who is the secretary. And I'd like to thank you all for coming in this evening. Also this evening we have some other people in our audience. From our tree commission we have Walt Smith and Whitey Coates. From the Chamber of Commerce we have Mr. Randy Davies. We have department heads here from Parks Department, Mr. Bill Bonner. From the Water and Sewer Department we have Mr. Richard Johnson. Transit, Mr. Mike Green. City Services, Jeff Carmen. Fire Chief, Jeff Krieg's here, thank you. And we also have our new development director here, Aaron Rourke. So I'd like to thank all of you for coming in this evening, making this a very good event. If I missed anybody, please forgive me, okay? We've had a pretty exciting, very exciting year here in our city this last year. The progress is very evident. Our downtown is flourishing, and it was beautiful this last year and bustling with activity. There's been continued extensive development, both to our north and west retail shopping areas. I think we all got to agree many of our streets are smoother. Our city services have been great, and our parks have been well maintained and consciously cared for, being the gems of our community. With that being said, I don't have anything else to say, so I'm very proud and privileged to present to you our Honorable Mayor Luke Feeney.
Thank you, President Arnold, members of council, distinguished guests, city staff, friends and neighbors. Good evening and thank you for coming tonight. Now I've got to admit, after watching last night's Oscars, I can't tell you how many times I've checked these notes to make sure they're for the right speech. I think I'm good to go, but if I start talking about something that happened in 2011, somebody please just stop me. I'd like to thank Council President Arnold for helping organize this year's State of the City address, and to our city staff for getting this building in tip-top shape. 3 weeks ago yesterday, on a Sunday morning, I was playing in our living room with our 1-year-old son when our windows shook from what seemed like an explosion. I looked out the back window and saw smoke coming from 4th Street. A home was on fire. I later learned that it only took the fire department 4 minutes from the time of the first 911 call to arrive on the scene. Just 4 minutes. Unfortunately, it was too late. The fire had done its damage. A man lost his life that morning, and 3 others lost their home. Despite the tragic circumstances, I saw Chillicothe's best that morning. I saw our firefighters acting with urgency, professionalism, and care. And I witnessed firsthand a Chillicothe police officer doing his best to console a woman who had just lost her home, a pet, and a friend. He went out of his way to make sure that her dog had a place to stay while she tried to figure out where she would rest her head that night. He went beyond his job duties and personified the best of Chillicothe in that moment. I am proud to be mayor of a city where people care so deeply. Time and time again, this city and our community amaze me. The generosity and sacrifice that I see on a daily basis is inspiring. I've often said I believe Chillicothe has more volunteers per capita than any other city in America. The sense of civic pride and duty here are not the exception, but the rule. And that is why the state of the city is strong. That sense of duty was on display in the spring of 2015, when residents voted yes to increase safety forces and pave our roads. That is a sacrifice we in government cannot and do not take lightly. With that commitment from the voters, this is how we responded. In my first month in office, we hired firefighters and we reopened 2 closed fire stations, taking us from just 1 fire station to 3 and providing much faster response times. We started hiring police officers just months after the yes vote and have authorized hiring 7 new officers to protect this city and keep us safe. We also tackled the major task of combining our police and fire dispatching. Combined dispatch went live in October, thanks to the hard work of Chiefs Creed and Washburn and their dedicated staff. This combination allowed us to move firefighters and police officers off of the telephones and onto the streets where they are needed. Last year's paving project was over $900,000 and 11 road miles. All told, since the yes vote, we have done over $2 million worth of road paving and paved over 23 road miles. We took advantage of historically low interest rates so that you didn't have to wait 2 years to see that work get started. The voters pledged their hard-earned money to improve our city streets, and we've taken our part of the bargain seriously. Within the coming weeks, we will put out the bid package for the 2017 paving program and start on another project in excess of $1 million. The overall financial health of the city remains one of our most pressing concerns, and I'm proud to announce that we continue to have a strong recovery from the Great Recession and local government funding cuts. Thanks to sound fiscal management and strong revenues, our general fund carryover balance saw its 3rd consecutive year of growth. The carryover balance in 2013, when I became city auditor, was $450,000. Last week, City Auditor Crystal Spetnagel announced that the 2016 year-end carryover was in excess of $2 million. We haven't seen that level of financial stability in quite some time. Those were our major undertakings, but last year we also focused on the details. And we did that in part by listening. Last February, I held my first neighborhood office hours, coming to you to hear your concerns, to listen to your questions in an environment that you feel comfortable in. I've been to every city ward, and at those meetings I've had the great opportunity to hear your concerns and learn what is important to you in your neighborhood. What I heard was that large item pickup is important to you, so we brought it back. I heard you say that you wanted reliable leaf pickup in the fall, so I sent a plan to council, they funded it, and we executed. The city pool was open from Memorial Day to Labor Day, the longest season anyone can remember. We even added a bus route to take you to Paints games in the summer. City Council passed legislation that will remove parking meters in front of homes on 4th Street downtown, something those neighbors have been asking for a long time. We also listened to the business community and the Downtown Development Commission. We brought back parking enforcement. Now before you boo, remember the important role that parking enforcement plays in a community. Our downtown businesses depend on parking and parking enforcement to make sure their customers can get in and out easily. Enforcement also means that handicap spaces are used appropriately and that fire lanes are not blocked. Believe it or not, city government is not all glitz and glamour, but these small details do matter. We took a renewed and more proactive approach to grant seeking. Parks and Recreation Director Bill Bonner brought in a $50,000 grant that the Tree Commission will use to showcase the Millennium Grove and enhance the visitor experience. The newly created land bank received $500,000 in funding. That project will remove vacant and blighted houses in our community and give the improved properties back to the neighborhoods. It will revitalize those neighborhoods, increase property values, reduce crime, and bring money into the community. Because of that grant, we were able to hire a director of development who will manage the land bank and seek more funding opportunities for projects like these. Enough about what city government has done. I'm so excited about everything that has been built in Chillicothe in the last few years. Have you been downtown lately? It seems like new businesses open up every day. Great places to eat, new services, retail shopping. That is small business driving our economy. In fact, in 2016, 43 new businesses opened in Chillicothe. 43. The progress downtown is the most visible sign of our strength and success in 2016. My goal for city government is to continue to create an environment that welcomes business opportunities and is a partner in your success. I would be remiss if I didn't mention all of the recent success within the Chillicothe City School District, and I'm happy to have some of the students with us tonight. The district is home to the 2015 Ohio State Principal of the Year, the 2016 Ohio State Teacher of the Year, and in 2018 will be home to 2 new state-of-the-art schools. Thank you to Superintendent Saxton, Chillicothe City School Board, teachers and administration, and of course students, for all that you do for our children. Despite all of our success, we have our struggles. The biggest problem this community faces, like communities all over Ohio and all over America, is the opiate epidemic. We are not alone in this fight. Unfortunately, Ohio leads the nation in opiate overdose deaths. Like other epidemics, heroin does not discriminate in who it infects and takes from us. We do have a pilot program here in Ross County dedicated to fighting this problem in our community. The Heroin Partnership Project is the only state-funded collaboration of its kind in Ohio and will serve to be a model for the rest of the state. Within the city, I am personally challenging department heads to take a fresh look at the information and resources that they have at their disposal to aid in this fight. This epidemic is not simply a crime epidemic or a health epidemic. We owe it to this community to use every resource that we have available to us to come up with new and creative ways to fight until we win. The solution is not simple and it's not straightforward, but whatever it is, it will take us all working together. A great example of this is the Keys to Success program at Chillicothe High School, which encourages students to remain drug-free. I suspect we have some members in the room here today. The program grew from having 100 students sign up in the first year to 400 sign up in 2016, just the second year. I congratulate all of those students participating and the partners who are funding it. There's also the Buck 50 race. It's a team race through Chillicothe and the surrounding area. 150 miles in 24 hours. Concerned citizens in our community are raising money to ensure that there are drug-free clubs of America in every school in Ross County. It is a great example of people in our community stepping up to address the drug problem. I encourage you to go to thebuck50.com to get involved. As I've said before, this community amazes me. There are so many good things happening that just make our city great. The Majestic Theater recently received $750,000 in the state capital budget, and Koppel Field received another $200,000. That's almost $1 million for Chillicothe and Ross County. Those funds will go a long way to making much needed upgrades to America's oldest continuously operating theater and our newest city park. On Groundhog Day, the Chamber of Commerce held their annual Community Forecast Breakfast, where a new initiative, 2 years in the making, was unveiled. The Greater Chillicothe, with an exclamation point, initiative has 8 strategic priorities, one of which is economic development. As a result of this vision process, economic development in Chillicothe and Ross County is getting a makeover. We're restructuring so that we have a flexible organization that is built to encourage a diverse economy in our area. It will be able to guide mom and pop through opening their first business or expanding, and it will also be able to attract the next major employer to the region. Another of Greater Chillicothe's strategic priorities is parks recreation, and historic places. 2017 is a historic year. It marks the 100th anniversary of the first soldiers arriving at Camp Sherman. To mark this historic occasion, the city will be collaborating with Ross County, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Historic Society, and veterans organizations to welcome visitors and put Chillicothe and its history on display. This summer will be an exciting test run for a future Hopewell Culture World Heritage Site designation. City government is also putting together its long-term vision. During my neighborhood office hours, one of the most frequent requests that I receive is to bring back curbside recycling. I'm very pleased to announce tonight that I have sent a proposal to Council President Arnold to reintroduce curbside recycling in Chillicothe. We worked much of last year to come up with a plan that would be affordable, easy and accommodating for residents, would reduce tonnage that we're sending to the landfill, and might even save some money in the long run. I would like to thank Councilwoman Beth Neal for her advocacy on this issue. I'm committed to making Chillicothe a more walkable and bikeable city. To that end, plans are in place to add a sidewalk to Woodbridge Avenue this summer, making for safe passage from Arch Street to Western Avenue. Combining grant money and working closely with ODOT, we have come up with a plan, and this is one of my favorite projects, to put a sidewalk on Western Avenue in 2018. And we recently passed legislation designating bike routes throughout the city. It's the little things. One of the more unusual situations in 2016 was the discovery that our city services garage could double as the bat cave. The discovery of hundreds of bats forced us to hastily move our service operation into the armory, and it also called to our attention the need to assess all of our facilities. I would like to thank Council President Arnold for organizing a tour of our facilities, for city council members, and to Councilman David Clay and his committee for taking on the large task of a strategic plan for our facilities. It's an important and overdue project that will serve this community well into the future. Speaking of the future, we are close to choosing a new city website that will go live later this year. Website technology has come a long way since our current website was created, and new technology will allow you to more easily communicate and interact with city government and our services. And it will make it easier for us to listen, quickly respond, and pass along important information. As I mentioned earlier, the general fund has seen steady growth over the past several years. We've endured cuts from the state and asked you, the voters, to make up for those losses. We keep a watchful eye on our cash carryover, but we don't actually have a fund or a plan established to get us through those hard times. I've worked with City Auditor Spetnagel to propose the creation of a budget stabilization fund that will be there for rainy days. When those tough times come again, we will be better prepared. In closing, the state of the city is strong. The indigenous people of this continent made Chillicothe the center of their culture. And Ohio's founders made Chillicothe this state's first capital. Over the past couple hundred or past couple thousand years, there have been some changes, surely. But today, Chillicothe is thriving, it is rising, and it is stronger than ever. We have our struggles, but it is not those struggles that will define us. It is our perseverance. It is our strength. It is the people of this community that always have and always will define Chillicothe. You are the reason the state of the city is strong. Thank you for coming tonight, and God bless.
Thank you for giving us the good news for the state of the city this evening. I appreciate it very, very much. And I want to appreciate everybody that came in this evening, and also the audience here, and also the audience at home. And we've got some good news. Thanks for being the captain of our city ship.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.